9:30, time for news headlines. A very good morning to you. South Africa's COVID-19 death toll has passed 87,000 after a further 34 fatalities were reported in the latest 24-hour cycle. A further 1,634 infections have also been reported. The Health Ministry says just under 30,000 people received vaccination in the latest 24-hour reporting period. This is still far below government's target of vaccinating 300,000 people per day. The country's third biggest political party, the EFF, will be launching its manifesto for the local government elections at 10 this morning at Gandhi Square in Johannesburg, CBD. These will be the second local government elections contested by the party since its formation in 2013, and this time it will be fielding candidates in all wards. In international news, Germans go to the polls today in a national election too close to call, with the centre-left Social Democrats mounting a strong challenge to retiring Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservatives. Merkel has been in power since 2005, but plans to step down after the election, making the vote an era-changing event. Well, as we said earlier, the EFF will launch its manifesto for the local government elections in, in Johannesburg's Gandhi Square at 10 this morning. Let's cross to one of our reporters on the ground. Remember, we have Natasha Piri and Samgele Maseko on the ground covering the election manifesto for us. Samgele, a very good morning to you. Revealed that the EFF will also be revealing their house, the EFF house, the Winnie Mandela House. Tell us a little more about what to expect today from that manifesto.
Essentially, what we can expect this morning from the economic freedom fighters is the launch of the elections manifesto. You remember that when they were in a voting on an issue-to-issue basis with the DA, in particular in the city of Johannesburg, with Councillor Herman Mashaba being the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, they pushed for insourcing of all metro workers, particularly the security guards who are now full-time as employees of the municipality. We're expecting them to launch the elections manifesto. We're expecting them to be uncompromising on the 7 cardinal pillars that formed the basis and the foundations of the launch of the economic freedom fighters. Their leader, Julius Malema, will take to this very podium to launch the elections manifesto of the economic freedom fighters here at Gandhi Square. At this point in time, I'm going to show you the numbers of the EFF members and supporters who have gathered here at Gandhi Square. You can see them. They have come in their hundreds, thus far there are thousands. Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, when we spoke to him in Alexandra 2 weeks ago, he did say that they are expecting over 20,000 members of the economic freedom fighters to come here and to converge at Gandhi Square for the launch of their elections manifesto. We are going to bring in the spokesperson for the elections of the EFF, Leanne Matthys, just to speak on the numbers that have gathered here today. To speak on the elections manifesto that will be launched by their leader, Julius Malema, this morning. Essentially, they have come in their thousands. They are expecting to hear the program of action for the economic freedom fighters. This time around this year, it's not a battle of stadiumology. There will be no stadiums that will be filled by political parties. In essence, political parties have to hold gatherings of smaller magnitude due to COVID-19 regulations and the spreading of the COVID-19 pandemic and virus across the Republic of South Africa, particularly knowing that there is a threat of a third wave. Remember, the EFF was also part of a court application where the IEC sought for the postponement of the elections, particularly after that report by the retired Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Muswaneka saying that it would be unfair to hold the elections, particularly with the virus still ravaging the people of the Republic of South Africa. We have not yet reached herd immunity, and the vaccination rate of government was at a dismal rate at that particular time in point. We are just waiting to speak to one of the EFF officials, particularly the national chairperson on what we can expect from this elections manifesto. We're just waiting for her. She's making her way to the podium. Particularly, she is the one who's going to be chairing this elections manifesto. After the economic freedom fighters, she's been deployed by the party to work in the Northwest province. I know she's been attending a lot of regional people's assemblies in the Northwest province as she's deployed with Sinawa Tambo in that particular region to try and work for the EFF to gain ground, to win the municipalities there, particularly knowing at the poor state of service delivery within that particular province of the Northwest, which is pretty politically unstable at this point in time, where various governments, you know, that a company had to close its doors due to the municipality failing to provide water, failing to provide services, particularly within that particular government. We're now going to bring in the national chairperson of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Ms. Veronica Mente. The numbers, they are growing. There's a COVID-19 pandemic. How are you going to mitigate through those factors of making sure that the virus is not spread here in this event of the EFF?
Well, you should be asking that question, Samkele, to the people who declared elections. That when the day of elections at the voting station, how are they going to cap people being shoulder to shoulder, back to back at a video station in thousands wanting to vote? And for them to be there voting, they have to be informed by certain positions and certain manifestos. And what we are doing today is campaigning, because elections are declared and we are campaigning. We're talking to our people.
Ms. Mente, when you are from the Western Cape, you're from Cape Metro. I know the former SG, Quadrich Gandhi, the head of international relations, has been deployed to that province. He's been working day in and day out. What are you anticipating the outcome of this election, particularly in the Cape Metro, knowing that the TA's vote will be split with the formation of the Good Party?
The demographics of the Western Cape are quite difficult. However, the EFF, we are intensifying our campaign. We are on the ground. And our fighters are working very hard. They are doing actually very well in terms of servicing the people. So we do hope that the people have seen what services they get in Khayelitsha, in Gugulethu, Kwalanga from the DA government, because the DA government only takes care of the suburbs, the leafy suburbs of Constantia, the Cape Town, the northern side of Cape Town. And when it goes to the southern side of Cape Town, you go to the central Cape Town where Khayelitsha, Langa, Gugulethu, Philippi, Nyanga is, where black people are. You will see the dire state that they are in. The drains are flooding, hospitals are dilapidating, there are no medicines, people are turned away, people wake up at 4 o'clock only for a basic service. Some people run out of water and there's no electricity in many occasions. So people that are resonating with the message of the EFF, we know and understand that they are going to vote for the EFF because our fighters are carrying the message across and they are doing very well in that.
You've been deployed to the Northwest province with Sinawa Tambo. How are the people of the Northwest province receiving the economic freedom fighters with their provincial secretary, Papi Kibaboile, and looking at the performance of the various municipalities in that province and knowing that the provincial government was placed under Section 100?
Northwest is very easy. It's a low-hanging fruit. We're in for a kill in the Northwest. We're not playing. We're on the ground. The campaign is intense, and we're working very hard. You would understand we are official opposition in the legislature, in the Rustenburg municipality, and Rustenburg is up for grabs. And in actual fact, the entire Northwest is up for grabs. The ANC couldn't do anything about the services. It's now under administration, the entire province, especially when it comes to local government. Nothing is done. What is more a problem in the Northwest is that even the officials in the offices of Northwest where service delivery is run, they don't have capacity. They are incapacitated in terms of spending budget, in terms of implementing the IDPs. They go collect IDPs from the people every 5 years. However, none of those IDPs have been implemented. The reason why that is so is because there is no capacity. There is too much cadre deployment. There are people with no qualifications. You find a person who comes straight from nursing or teaching, being a director at water and sanitation. When it comes to a part of understanding how to reticulate water to the different townships and locations and villages of the Northwest, they have to go and find consultants, and they are spending money in consultants. Local government is not rocket science. Local government is very easy because you listen to people, you hear what they say, and you give them what they need. And the other thing is Northwest money was spent carelessly and was spent most of it in corruption.
When you look at the metros, in 2016 you were the kingmakers. Johannesburg, Tshwane, Nelson Mandela Bay, they all, in the words of the ANC, Jesus came back, in the form that you voted with the DA on an issue-to-issue basis. What are going to be your electoral fortunes this time around in these 8 metros, in particular metros of Gauteng and Gqeberha?
As I have indicated before, that only the Western Cape because of the demographics of the Western Cape. However, the entire country were in for a kill. We're going all out. We're looking for an outright win. We are not looking to be a kingmaker of anything. If we become kingmakers, we'll see that on the first. But for now, our focus is being the EFF that is governing all local municipalities, district and the metros.
What can the Commander-in-Chief say to these thousands of EFF supporters gathered at the back here now when he addresses them this morning?
We are going to be unveiling the manifesto. The CIC is going to be reading the commitments of the EFF to the people. And those commitments are not very difficult because we have been embarking in the consultative forums where we have been speaking to different sectors, different entities, different people, and people told us what type of a government they are looking for. They told us what kind of services they are looking for. We are now going to be responding to them and telling them that this is what we are committing to do to you people. But a sneak preview is the fact that you understand the basis of the foundation of the EFF is the 7 unnegotiable pillars in our founding manifesto and the 14 complementary pillars. And that has been the life of the EFF, and that life of the EFF still exists up to today. So it's going to be part and parcel of the message that is going to be given to the fighters today.
Behind you is the new home of the EFF, Winnie Mandela House. What does this house signify, and the importance of having the name of Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, knowing very well that it's her birthday today?
The first thing is that we know Mama Winnie was the president that we never had. We wouldn't be in this state we are in today if Mama Winnie had had an opportunity to be the president to deliver all the needs of our people. We understand that when Mama Winnie passed, she passed without being honored. She passed without being honored by the party she lived for. She suffered and compromised everything for, but she was doing it for her people. This now we are saying Mama Winnie's life, Mama Winnie's name, Mama Winnie's well-being, Mama Winnie's everything should continue living. This is in the spirit of Mama Winnie to say we are reviving the spirit of Mama Winnie. It should live forever. Hence today we have the homes of the EFF in the name of our hero and in the name of our legend.
Thank you very much, Veronica Menk, the National Chair of the EFF. My colleague Kwazi is going to show you the visuals of the thousands of supporters of the EFF. When the party was formed, Julius Malema said after the Marikana massacre, it is for the first time that a baby will be born, but that baby will be born walking. That baby is the economic freedom fighters. In 2016, they shocked a lot of South Africans, particularly within the political space, when they became the official opposition in a number of municipalities in the Northwest Province, particularly Rustenburg. When in 2019, they took over as the official opposition in a number of provincial legislatures. In 2016, they were the kingmakers in the economic hub, Johannesburg, in Tshwane. They also kicked out the ANC, voting with the DA in Nelson Mandela Bay.